what can we help you with as you're looking to grow your business? Obviously, we're going to give you our answers in the trenches of what we're doing, sure. But what kind of is your question that we can help you answer?
Well, so I'm a team leader of a small team, and one of the questions I get from my team, and I have a brand new agent that sold one house in the last couple of months. And we're doing open houses. I just sent everybody your open house podcast that I just listened to. It's great. Oh, nice. Sent it to the team, of course, and said must listen. But it's like how do I as a new agent get more leads without paying Zillow, without paying Realtor.com? How can I generate leads? And I've been really harping on the open houses because I had a lot of success with them when I started out. I've got all kinds of stories, about you have one, you meet somebody and they got a house to sell, and then they introduce you to their sister and she's got a house to sell and wants to buy. And next thing you got 4 deals going down, So that was my question I had for you guys is like, what ideas do you have for other good ways to generate free leads?
Yeah. And especially the free is the real valuable part. Can you give me a little insight into, you said smaller team, what's kind of you guys' transaction count or volume, how many agents specifically, just so get us a frame of reference?
Yeah, we have me, and then I have an admin, and I have 3 buyers agents. So, and then I do most of the listings. Now, I do allow my team, if they generate their own client, they're able to do, like, not all the listings funnel to my name. They're able to do their own listings and stuff too. And, I'm fairly new at running a team, just a few years, and it's evolved, but I'm constantly kind of trying to improve it. And I'm also trying to, find ways to be more profitable too. And I feel it's really my responsibility to guide those new agents. This is my 23rd year. I'm one of those people where my phone just kind of rings. One of the agents says, the quote was, "Can we cuss on this podcast?" Yeah. one of my realtors, or my admin, she's like, "Shit just falls into your lap," and it's like, well, not really. It's 20 years of like working hard, building it up, and getting my name out there.
It's 20 years of overnight success. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but like how many transactions as a team? You're obviously doing the most of them, but how many transactions as a team?
What do we have? I would say we're probably somewhere around, 90, 100 transactions a year for the team. I'm personally doing anywhere, if I have a good year, from 60 to 70,
Yeah, so you're the main rainmaker there, which makes perfect sense. And then I'm assuming like the pain point is, you got to get your agents producing. They don't have a lot of money to spend. And if they don't produce, then they leave the team. Have you gone through the pain of losing agents that you've recruited yet or no?
Oh yeah. A couple. Yeah. Which in a way I expect, right? If someone turns out to be, like, this business isn't it for everybody. I just heard a stat that like 80, I think it was on your podcast, 80% of new agents don't make it 2 years, right? So, and then there's the people that have the talent for this business and they work really hard. And then, next thing you know, they're going from 2 million to 5 million to 10 million. And by the way, I'm coming from Lincoln, Nebraska, where our average home sale is $300,000 or something, right? Yeah. We're not selling $2 million homes very often.
Hey, well, you got Acre Brothers beat. Their average is what, 270?
Yeah, it's like 70.
Yeah. So we know your pain, my man. We know your pain. Okay, so that makes perfect sense, and it's going to be even better if you haven't experienced this yet. Wait till you make them a top producer, and then they feel they don't need you anymore, and they leave you.
I've had that a couple times already.
Yeah. So the pain of being a team lead. Okay, so I'll give you my take on the free leads, and then I'd love to hear Cody and Steven's because obviously they're living it every day. The number one lead source in all of real estate, and everybody knows this, but so few execute well, is your sphere, right? Sphere is free. They know, like, and trust you, but here's the catch, and here's what I would tell your agents. It's not just about going, hey, it's your sphere that's going to use you, and that's your leads. It's what is your proactive outreach plan to your sphere to ask them specifically to give you a real estate referral. And this is where most people fall down, is when I ask them, hey, how are you trying to stay in front of your sphere? People will talk about social media, they'll talk about sending an email newsletter, but they don't have any proactive outreach campaign. And so for everybody listening to this and for your agents, I would say, hey, show me your CRM, show me your database, and not just the touch points. Show me the last time you called every single person in your sphere and you specifically ask them to help you with your real estate goal this year.
Right.
And I'm telling you, if you do that, every blind squirrel finds a nut, not to be funny, but you will find and uncover gold in your database. So that is the first activity I would have them do. Second, when it comes to like free leads, you're already hitting on one, which is open houses, right? Which is great. Because that is where you always want to go to where the people are. If you need instant transactions, you want to go to where people are actually looking, right? So you got open houses, expireds, FSBOs, all those can be free because it's not truly free. It's called sweat equity. I would encourage the team, hey, look, you're just getting started. And when you just get started in any industry, the failure rate is massive because it's not easy. Right. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But if you want to live in the 1%, you can't be like the 99%. So what does that look like? What that looks like is the sweat equity that you're putting in circle prospecting and FSBOs, expireds, and then the open houses. The only problem with open houses is you're limited based upon the inventory and the availability if you're a new agent and you don't have any and you can't get the other agents to give you one of theirs. But you're not limited in circle prospecting. Our guys, how many dials are you challenging the new agents to make, guys?
Well, what did Gray make the other day?
Yeah, he did 400, but 400. The minimum is 50 people, 100 calls, double dialing.
Yep. Every day.
Per day. Well, yeah.
Yep. So there you go. There you have it, is basically where people listen to this. Now, granted, we all want to be where you're at, Matt, and where Steven you're at and Cody you're at, where the referrals come to you. But it's like you guys pounded the pavement for years and years and years. And everybody wants to live in your now, but not realizing the journey that you went through to get there. And so I would encourage your agents to go, hey, look, you're either serious about building a business or not. And if you are, be willing to put in the grind for the first few years. In the grind, at the same time you're making the calls, make the YouTube videos, make the social posts, because you'll build a brand. Yeah, but that brand's not going to generate overnight. I think it was Tom Toole who posted maybe yesterday or the day before. He was like, if you think posting on Instagram is going to generate you a lead right now, he's like, that's a failed strategy. And his point with that is, it will in the long-term branding, in the long-term referral based, but it is not an effective strategy for lead generation in the moment. Really, the outreach is, and that's through calls, door knocking, stuff like that. So I'll throw it to you, Stephen and Cody, to add your kind of spin on that.
Like the nuances to it, there's so many different team structures. I can't tell you how many teams I've talked to. And so like it does start with you going, Matt, like, hey, what kind of team do I want to be? Because like I would say that the battle is that we can, there's so many different pillars, right? You could do circle prospecting, right? They're going to cost you barely anything for the list. It won't be free, but it will be close to free. And that's a great one. But the problem with it is your agents, if they don't want to make the calls, if they don't want to make 200 calls a day, you won't be successful at it, right? And so your battle is going, am I going to enforce a standard, right, on these people where I'm going to actually have a retention rate that's going to go, like no one's going to stay. I can't enforce the standard because I know my agents that I currently have will not be on the team later. Right. And so you have to decide what kind of team you want to be, because I would choose, if you want to be the team that's like elite and, a little bit smaller, and you don't want to deal with like managing the agents that are on the team every single day, I would 100% choose Sphere. I would come up with the plan of action, and Luke can work with you big time on this. But how are you dripping them? How many calls do they need to make? Because that's easier to make a call to, a warmer relationship than it is to circle prospect. And then I would choose open houses, right? Because you can get the team to hold. It's easy to enforce a standard of this many open houses. That's not going to take too much management overhead for you. But if you want to become the team where they're doing, 36, 40 transactions each on the team, you're going to have to move to some of these other pillars, which are smiling and dialing, right? The problem with it, when you're a small team, the management overhead of that is going to put something on your plate, right? Which you probably don't want. But if you want it, and you want to scale the team, I'd say go that route all day long. If you don't want that extra job, where you're going to go, eventually you're going to go, I need a director of operations. I need a director of sales. I need a manager of the ISA department, that kind of thing. Yep. If you don't want to get to that level, don't go through that messy middle and just stick to the ones that are a little bit easier, bottom of the funnel leads, open houses, your easy relationships with Sphere. Choose those lead sources 100%.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate it. One of the other things I talked about my team about is like, I'm very streaky. So when I get hot, I get off the phone with somebody and says, "Hey, we accepted your offer." Like I'll hang up the phone, I'll get the paperwork going to get that one under contract, and then I'll make 10 calls right away because I'm in the mood. I just sold one. I'm going to go and I'll stir some stuff up just by making calls to my people because I'm hot, right? I got the vibe. I'm feeling good. I just sold one, and I will get crazy streaky that way. And I'll have the next thing I've got like 2 listings and I've got showings scheduled for Saturday or whatever. Just boom, boom, boom.
No one will follow you.
Yep.
No new agent's going to follow you if you're not living and dying by the system that you're preaching them to live. Right. Like, even though you're going, dude, I'm 20 something years in the business, 23 years in the business. And you're going, this didn't happen overnight, right? There's a look at you going, you're trying to enforce a standard that you don't live by and it won't work. Right. And so like, you got to be okay with going, well, I know my vision, right? I know where I want to be. And then you go enforce the standard with knowing that you're going to lose the agents and then build from scratch. With the agents that are A-level talent that have the drive, right, to do the phone calls and all that good stuff. You just have to know that you will go through that. So like the problem when we coach teams is most of the time they have a problem and we give them the answer, but they don't want to go through the pain of what it's going to take to get to the conclusion, right? It's as simple as that. And you will go through losing the agents if you start enforcing standards like that you haven't enforced before. And so you just know that. So that's why I'm saying choose where you want to be. If you're happy with where you're at and you're like, I just want to increase it a little bit and I can enforce these standards, do open houses, do Sphere. And for Sphere, you already know how to do it, right? So then it's going to, Reminder Media, going to a company that can actually automate that for you and for the agents. And then you just hold them to quarterly calls for that.
Right.
Yeah. Because, you might just want to go, turn one of them to a buyer agent, showing agent route, and do that and build a business that way. But if you want to add agents, also the free part, like obviously everyone wants free leads, but we're going to have to invest something, if you want your agents to grow in that way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I want to speak into existence. Like we're talking to teams, like most people don't want to go through the messy middle. The problem with this whole idea of starting teams is people don't understand the grind that it takes to get through the messy middle. To where you're actually a business infrastructure where it's like, your profit margins are 20-25%, but it's on, a big amount of money, right? Rather than be elite team making tons of profit with where you're at. I'm like, don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't go through that messy middle. Just choose the route that's going to make you a lot more money, higher percentage wise.
Yeah. I'll come back to what you want ultimately. Like, what is your goal for the team? I love to hear that.
So 2 things I started the team for, and you're going to love this. Probably not your ideal team starter, but number 1 was to, obviously make money off of other people, right? So I'm big on diversification. I have a real estate portfolio that I own. I have a commercial building. My wife has a property management business that she runs. So we have multiple income streams coming in from real estate. It's like I get money off some of these other real estate, not only from my brokerage, but also from a team. Yep. And then the other part was, in my office would joke that I'm on the golf course all the time, but was kind of for my lifestyle, right? When I started, I tell this story. My wife would call me and say, "You need to come home because you need to help get the kids to bed," right? Because I'm up here working at 8:00 at night when I first started. And I don't do that anymore, because I don't, number 1, I don't have to. I've had success over the years, right? But a little bit of starting the team was to help me with my lifestyle, so I didn't have to work so damn hard. And if I have a client that wants to show some houses, I can put a buyer's agent on it. I don't have to show houses every Saturday. I don't have to do open houses every weekend. And I used to do, one of those where I would do 1 at 1 to 2:30, pick up all my signs, directionals, run over to the next one, open the other one, sweating my guts out, doing 2 open houses back to back when I started. And, that's the kind of thing I teach my team now. Like, you want to be successful, man, you got to hustle, right?
Yep.
If you want to make some money, sell some houses. And I'm very old school that way. It's like,
that's not old school, man. In my book, that's
you want
just
to make
success.
some money, let's go work,
Yeah, that's just smart.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, are you feeding then your buyer's agents, your buyers? So are you only working listing?
So no, I do. I still work with some buyers. My team would love me to give them more of my clients, but I'm still a little bit of a control freak. And I do have some clients that I will keep if they're a long time and they've come to me and they want me. If somebody finds me off the internet, they'll
Matt,
go buy.
Your issue is, brother, and I love you. You're telling your issue is you haven't decided what you really want. You're in.
I wouldn't
You're
argue
torn.
with that.
And that's not an attack. It's just, hey man, you got to decide what you want because you have the talent. It's not a talent issue. It's actually not even a knowledge issue. I could tell as we started telling you the lead sources, all the stuff. We're just telling you stuff you already know.
Sure.
What you really need is you need someone to tell you, hey man, what do you want, dude? What's your income? Like, are you making $500,000 a year? Are you making $1 million a year? Do you want that? Because success isn't money. But at the end of the day, you've got to get real intentional and clear on what you want.
Yep.
And that will change the game for you because I can already tell, oh, you have the talent. If you put your mind to it, you'll easily do. I shouldn't say easy. You'll grind your way to doing it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you haven't decided that. So you decide that and then apply what you know to be true of what we just said with the leads and you will crush it. But it sounds like you have a pretty good life. So it's kind of one of those things of, hey man, maybe the enemy of progress is comfort. Maybe you're a little bit too comfortable. You got to go make a big investment to make yourself have to get more money. And then that will go there. But dude, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We have our next caller calling in, Olivia, that we got to get to help. But I really appreciate you coming on. I would love to connect with you on social so we can continue the combo. We can jump on a call separately and you guys can see what Steven.
You know how to get a hold of me. I give you a bunch of money every month. So
yeah, I love it. Hey man, that's what I love to hear.
It's a huge honor to be on the show. I really think it's great. I'm very appreciative. Thank you guys. It's great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. See ya.